Portland. Actually, unfair to start with you because Money and I were just kibitzing about this. Money, who would you say? To pair it up with something else that's in the news is this Seahawks, a little bit of a brush fire, not a major thing, but not a 5-alarm fire just yet. But, we talked in here with Cliff Averill a couple of weeks ago. We said, what's going on with Richard Sherman? Why would this even be happening? It was hard to figure out, and he had glowing things to say about Richard Sherman and his importance to the team. But still, is Russell Wilson getting a pass from all that kind of stuff. I'm not throwing dirt on the Seahawks at this point, certainly. But if they don't go back to another Super Bowl, we will feel as though that they left meat on the bone. 2 straight Super Bowls. They were a yard away from 2 straight Super Bowls. If this is it, so that would be my one potential looking forward. But looking back,
I know this is easy because it's where I grew up and I was in the middle of it, but you look at that 85 Bears team, considered the most dominant defense of all time, and as I run the parallel with Tiger, it's not just injuries, but there's something else. You had Buddy Ryan, the defense, who did not like Mike Ditka, and the offense. You had Walter Payton, who was sort of being coaxed to retire early and purchase a team and be a minority face for a team in St. Louis that fell apart, so maybe he retired a little bit early. The fact that team only went to 1 Super Bowl, let alone won 1 Super Bowl, when you think about the Hall of Famers on that side of the ball, and then you had the McMahon sideshow, I'd have to say that's as close to the top as you're going to find. I mean, a single Super Bowl appearance for that amount of talent on that team.
Maurice Jones, you never know who's going to walk in at NFL media. Maurice Jones-Drew just happens by. We're talking about, on Tiger Woods, the most meat left on the bone for any guy or team in the NFL. San Diego Chargers, Air Coryell, Dan Fouts. They never even got to a Super Bowl. That team never even reached a Super Bowl.
Championship game, that was it.
What about the Bengals? I thought the Bengals used to have a really good team back in the day, right?
They start the white Bengals, yeah.
Right. They make it to the Super Bowl a lot and get blown out a couple times by the Niners.
Yeah, those are kind of two distinct. It's funny because the 80s begin or close it with Ken Anderson and Forrest Gregg coaching that team, and then they end it with Boomer Esiason in this sort of pretty potent offense under Weish, like you say. And the closest they got was Lewis Billups drops an interception at the goal line in the fourth quarter, and then Montana rallies the Niners, and that's the closest the Bengals ever got.
Yeah, Chargers a good one. I think that was like a 3-year window, right?
I'd say about
it was like
4.
78, 79, 80 when they were right there.
Do you have to make it to a Super Bowl, or do you have to win?
Just the team underachieved.
I got a better.
Bills.
Oh, that's a
good one. Yeah.
I mean, that seems like a
gold standard.
Yeah, didn't win a Super
Rex
Bowl.
Ryan's Jets. How about that?
Yeah, but they didn't have a quarterback really.
But they drafted him 5th overall. We all thought he was a guy.
That's one of the weirdest things.
You go to 2 AFC championships back to back.
Is that, so we're talking about that, and then Tigers sort of fall there.
I want to add something to the Tiger thing, though. You did see his distance is decreasing and decreasing.
Sure.
You've seen him totally. You knew his accuracy was going to go at some point, and now on top of this, and then all his.
I hear you. I hear you on that. But, but the Sanchez thing, talk about a fall from grace. We talked about this with Kaepernick over the last month as well. If Kaepernick completes that pass to Michael Crabtree on the last throw in the Super Bowl 5-6 years ago, I can't imagine any of this is happening now.
Harbaugh's still their coach.
Harbaugh's probably still their coach. No matter what, Kaepernick isn't now regarded as a guy, well, we can't start him. He's a Super Bowl champ. Same thing goes. I know Mark Sanchez had a longer way to go just because he played in 2 straight title games. They needed a few more plays, but let's say he gets to a Super Bowl and wins it. The descent for Mark Sanchez has been pretty severe too since that second championship with the Jets.
Last year's Panthers, they were 15-1.
So true.
And Cam Newton, like totally all those rushes out of the zone read, and then all of a sudden in the Super Bowl, we can't rush out of the zone.
The Vikings had those at the end of the 90s. They had a series of QBs of all these remade QBs from Jeff George to Randall Cunningham and Warren Moon. They kept rolling them through there, and they were always good. And that team never got those.
Even that Dante Culpepper, Randy.
Oh, and Culpepper.
That team, 15-1, right?
That team was ridiculous. That was the Gary Anderson team. No, that was
Cunningham was 15-1. The Gary Anderson miss, Orton Anderson wins it in overtime. But yeah, that's a great answer there. I'm thinking about the Houston Oilers were just victims of when they.
Well, I think that's the biggest one for Tiger Woods. I mean, you talk about Tiger Woods where he got older, he got hurt, then all the other off the field stuff came on. You look at I watched the whatever it was about on the Bills. I want to say someone did like a thing on
Football Life thing.
Football Life, yeah. And it was like they started getting older, and then all the off the field stuff started to come in. Like it was crazy, all in a matter of a year, and then they moved.
It's also weird. Yeah, that's a good.
Oilers,
another team that's a little under the radar is the Kansas City Chiefs. It's hard to believe that team hasn't been to a Super Bowl since Super Bowl IV. Since Super Bowl IV, they haven't got. They're always good, aren't they? Don't they feel like the Chiefs are good about 2/3 of the NFL seasons we've watched? That they're a threat at least.
The Chiefs, like if you just go by quarterback eras, it's hilarious, right? It's like, oh yeah, it was the Steve the Bird Chiefs, and then now it's the Alex Smith Chiefs. Like when you look at the quarterbacks, obviously the Montana was a different deal, and that would have been something if they could have figured that whole thing out. But then we had the Steve Bono. Remember, you had the mayor saying he was an embarrassment to the sport of football when they lost in the first round, and that was another good Chiefs team. Yeah, I mean, you're waiting. Maybe this is the year, huh? Maybe it's Alex Smith's opportunity here.